There's a tower in the distance. Every year, the people of Lumiere look to it in dread, waiting for the moment the paint for the mine. The paintress paints a number, an age, onto its ancient stone. When that number matches yours, your time is up. You vanish, erased from existence like a brushstroke wiped clean. This is the world of Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a melancholic but beautiful tale of resistance against fate. From the moment you step into this story, you feel its weight. You are the leader of an expedition, one of many sent on a seemingly hopeless mission to destroy the paintress and break the curse. None before you have returned. But this is not just a suicide mission, it's a story of hope, wrapped in sorrow of a people refusing to quietly disappear. French developer Sandfall doesn't hide its inspirations, nor does it need to. Echoes of Final Fantasy, Persona, and Fire Emblem hum throughout the experience. But what makes Clair Obscur special is the way it reinterprets these ideas through its own cultural and artistic lens. This isn't just homage, it's transformation. The art of battle. Combat in Clair Obscur is like choreography. Each action feels practiced, timed, and beautiful. You don't just command, you perform. The turn-based system is dressed in vibrant animation and infused with real-time mechanics that demand attention. Parry with precision, dodge in rhythm, and deliver attacks with the flair of a seasoned conductor guiding a symphony. It's reminiscent of Mario RPGs or the Like a Dragon series, where battles are not static puzzles, but living, breathing moments of tension and release. The real magic, though, is in the way each character brings their own rhythm to the dance. Gustave channels power through sheer force. Lune manipulates elements like a painter mixing colors. Mael shifts stances like a dancer mid-routine. Ciel reads cards like a fortune teller balancing shadow and light. Each party member is unique, and yet they harmonize beautifully. Especially once you begin experimenting with skill synergies and pictos, attachments that shape your playstyle in ways a traditional skill tree never could. A world worth fighting for. There's something wonderfully old school about exploring Clair Obscur's world. Oversized characters move across a map dotted with secrets and optional challenges, some inaccessible until you gain new tools or companions, much like unlocking airships or chocobos in the RPGs of old. You'll wander through ethereal forests and devastated trenches, guided not by quest markers but by curiosity. Floating islands beckon from afar. Silly wooden creatures called gestrels offer both levity and lore. It's a world that understands that charm and sorrow aren't mutually exclusive, that joy can exist in the shadow of grief. Despite its linear structure, every location is crafted with care. Each one feels distinct, often stunning, and always meaningful. The absence of a minimap may frustrate at times, but it's a small price to pay for the immersion that Clair Obscur delivers. Mortality, memory, and meaning. My heart was all in on Clair Obscur's themes of facing mortality, making sacrifices for future generations, and the different ways we handle grief. I've written a lot about the latter, especially in relation to the stories many recent RPGs tell, and this is another harrowing exploration of it, for the way it contextualizes time and age, but also for its portrayal of grief becoming destructive to those around you, should it consume you. Final Fantasy X is one of its main influences, and it shows, but Clair Obscur also separates itself by how it tells its story. Massive credit is due to the impeccable acting and voice performances from an A-list cast, as well as script writing and scene direction that has dialogue playing out like natural, real-life conversations. Small gestures, subtle expressions, and the cadence of the line deliveries are qualities that ground its story in something that feels as real as it is fantastical. Its brevity does work against it at times, as the story shifts in sudden directions later on that somewhat undermine the initial premise. I wish it dedicated a little more time and attention to fleshing out the parts that went a bit underdeveloped, but what's here is still powerful, especially as it relates to the ugliness that comes from processing loss, and with a certain focus on the complicated impact it has on families. There's a thematic coherence in showing how we use art and fiction as a coping mechanism and the dangers of getting lost in it. Despite its deeply sad premise, Clair Obscur also manages to inject some levity that is largely charming rather than forced. Silly wooden guys called gestrels occupy most of the continent, working as both comic relief and a lens to help understand unknown parts of the world. Your party will goof with each other and share pieces of their personal lives at camp. And while not all of it is riveting stuff necessarily, those brief moments are vital for rounding out the human element that this story channels. Admittedly, there are moments in which Clair Obscur embellishes in its sorrow a bit too much, getting a little overdramatic at times. But it's always able to find its footing by evoking a very specific tone, one that leans heavier into what you'd expect from a theater production than a Hollywood blockbuster. And from that perspective, playing out like a classical tragedy is an integral part of its identity. Clair Obscur often feels like an expression of French art history, using its culture as an enticing artistic foundation, and even poking fun at itself with mime bosses and a fun accordion jig. That's not just in the distinct Belle Epoque aesthetic or the French phrases characters use casually in conversation, but also in motifs that invoke theater, painting, dance, and music, which are woven into the very fabric of this fictional world, with music in particular being the most powerful one. Like every great RPG, an evocative soundtrack can uplift it to become a truly memorable experience, and Sandfall understood the assignment here. There's almost too much good music in that certain tracks didn't even get enough time to stick in my head, but at every turn are amazing songs that hype you up for battle or set a wistful mood. With a multifaceted approach that includes string quartets, symphonic rock, moving opera vocals, and atmospheric synths, Clair Obscur's soundtrack is stunning and will be one of the reasons I won't forget this game. In so many ways, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, reminded me of numerous classic and contemporary RPGs I love, but developer Sandfall truly understood why those games are special and made the pieces it borrowed its own. The creative turn-based combat system is brilliant, keeping me engaged while impressive visual flourishes bring it all together. The story can be a touch messy or melodramatic at times, but there's an earnestness to how it frames mortality, grief, and the small moments of joy we find. It doesn't shy away from the different destructive ways we may handle loss, either, all of which is delivered through fantastic performances from an A-list cast that give its story the heart it needs to really hit. The contrast between its artistic sensibilities and old-school RPG design philosophy shows a clarity of vision as if it was scoped just right to focus on the things that matter most.